Welcome to the video. This is about getting a Medicare card in Australia. This first video looks at enrolling in Medicare system, and the second video, part 2, looks at if you need to copy or transfer to new or existing Medicare cards. So the first form to look at is the Medicare enrollment form. You're going to use this form to enroll in Medicare for the first time. Re-enroll in Medicare if, say, you've been overseas for more than 5 years, you've got to come back into the system, or if you're going to enroll a newborn child into Medicare. This form, you can enroll up to 5 people. If there's more than that, you need to use separate forms. On the front of the form, it talks through the Medicare safety net, talks about lifetime health cover, talks about My Health Record, it talks about some information for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians. There's questions in there, they're voluntary. And the same applies to Australian South Sea Islanders. Okay, there's questions in there, they're voluntary as well. Also, for more information, if you want to find out more about filling out the form. Filling in the form, there's some instructions here. Use blue or black pen, print in block letters, and when you see a box like this with a little square and an arrow, it'll tell you which question to go to next if you choose that box, okay? Because it's saying you to skip some questions. So the next part of the form looks at the type of enrolment. You can use this for enrolling in Medicare for the first time, re-enrolling, enrolling a newborn child, or even registering your health record, the My Health Record. So that's page 1. Go down to page 2. This is where part A is. And it goes through that. A couple of questions there. Then you've got part B. Okay, this is where you're adding on additional people in part B. Then you've got part C. This is if you're enrolling a newborn child. You'd fill out this section. And then finally, this section is looking at the My Health Record, which is an online record of your healthcare needs and healthcare provision. So let's go back up to the first part, part A. So part A, enrolling in Medicare for the first time. So this includes re-enrolling in Medicare or extending your Medicare. So enrolling in Medicare for the first time talks there about the documents you need if you're an Australian citizen or if you're a child born overseas to an Australian citizen, New Zealand citizens, permanent residents but not citizens, those who apply for permanent residency or permanent protection visa, visitors from a country that have a reciprocal healthcare agreement. So there's an agreement between Australia and that country that you can get access to our healthcare in Australia, and other visa holders. Now it's covered by ministerial orders. So there's some options there. So you choose which one, and then it tells you what documents you need for the process. If you're re-enrolling, then there are some other documents there. Returning to reside in Australia permanently. So if you've been overseas for more than 5 years, or if you're New Zealand citizens or permanent residents returning to live in Australia after 12 months or more. Okay, so there's 2 types there. Extend my Medicare eligibility. So that one is there, which you need to do there. So that's just, the page just talks about all the documents you need to be able to process it. There's also residency document requirements that you can list down there. Okay, then you get on to Medicare contact person. You'll be the nominated contact person who they will send the Medicare card to, and the general information to on behalf of everyone listed on the Medicare cards. So this would be usually one of the parents, if it's doing for a family, or yourself if you're doing it just for yourself. So you fill in those details there. Obviously your name, details, have you been known by another name, date of birth, gender, your postal address, contact phone number, and then it tells you, depending on what you're choosing to do out of these 3 options in question 10, it then tells you which question to go to next. You either go to question 11 or straight to question 19. Question 11 asks about Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander descent. You can choose that. Or are you an Australian South Sea Islander descent? So these are voluntary questions if you are Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander or Australian South Sea Islander. If you aren't those, you would be ticking no in those boxes. Have you previously lived overseas? If it's a no, you're going to go straight down to question 18. If it's a yes, there's some details they want to know there. Do you require a lifetime health cover letter? Okay, so go back to page 1. There was information about the lifetime health cover. There's information there if you require a letter to cover that, so tick yes or no. Bank account details. They'll ask for your bank account details because when you go to the doctor and you have to pay the doctor straight up, Um, Medicare will cover a portion of that, sometimes the full amount. That's called bulk billing. Sometimes there'll be a bit you have to pay extra. So you'll pay the full doctor's fee if that's the case, and then Medicare will send you your refund of their portion. So say a doctor charges $60 for a consultation, Medicare covers probably about $30 of that. So you'll get a refund of $30. You pay the $60 up front, get a refund in your bank account. So that's why they require your bank details in these forms. There's a privacy notice at number 20, and then 21 is a declaration, just saying that you understand that everything's correct and you follow everything through. You give your full name, your signature, and your date when you've signed it. Okay, what do you do then? If there's other people getting enrolled, no, you got to go to Part D, which is your My Health Record. If you are enrolling other people for this Medicare card, you're going to go to Part B. Yeah. So Part B is just simply adding the different people. There's additional person 1, and ask you all their name details. Have they been known by the names, date of birth, gender, contact phone numbers, heritage questions, have they lived overseas, etc., etc. And that just repeats bank details if it's for additional person if they're 14 years of age or over, and you want to separate where the payments of the refunds go. Additional person 2, similar questions that goes through. Additional person 3, and additional person 4. The questions just keep getting repeated over and over again for each additional person. A declaration of additional people. So each person has to sign and date and put their name at that section. Part C is if you're enrolling a newborn child. So you've had a newborn child, you've got to enroll them into Medicare, so they're part of the health system. Okay. Talks about the documentation you need there at 86. You put in your details, so you would already have a Medicare card at this point, and you're adding them to your Medicare card. Talks about your date of birth, the relationship, postal address for yourself, contact phone number. Do you have a partner? That's an option to skip ahead. If you do have a partner, you've got to answer some more questions. Asks if you like a duplicate card. Does your partner want the newborn child added to their Medicare card? So there's options there about how you want to manage your system. If your partner's got a separate Medicare card, put those details in and the child can be added there. Child's name details goes through, and then it talks about the My Health Record. Privacy notice, declaration, and signing off. So your full name and your partner's full name and details. This is a little bit different. It actually tells you a different place to send the details of supporting documents. So there's an email address there or how to post them. The final one is the My Health Record. My Health Record, it's an online summary of an individual's health information. It can be accessed at any time by the individual and their healthcare providers. Okay, so it's an online. So if you go to a hospital, they can access it, see what previous medications you might have been on, see what previous injuries you might have had. So it allows the medical professionals to access your information at any point. Go back a few years ago, your doctor's surgery had information, there might be some files at the hospital, and they weren't all linked. So in emergencies, it was difficult to find out, okay, what does this person need? What medications are on? What surgeries have they had before? So now it's all coming together, improving healthcare access and improving outcomes in the healthcare system. So you fill that out if you'd want to do that. You don't have to do that, but it is a great thing to have. Additional people, adding them if you need be. Privacy notice, and then the declaration down the bottom. It tells you where to send that form. So that is the enrollment form if you're just starting out, or if you've got a newborn baby, or if you're coming back from being overseas for a while.